Hi everyone, let's have a quick look at the backtesting results I have achieved in the past 24 hours. Earlier today, we had the Sun squaring Black Moon Lilith at around 10 o'clock UTC. Yesterday I said that aspect is tough and I cannot be bullish until I see that aspect done and dusted, and it is done and dusted now. Meanwhile, Mars made 45 degrees angle to Black Moon Lilith and to the Sun, being exactly at the midpoint. There is so much symmetry in this chart, it's just insane. So Mars was exactly at the midpoint of this aspect, and it made exactly those 45-degree angles to each one of them, exactly at the same time when they did the square. There is a theory actually that symmetry is bullish, and this time it really proved, today it really proved that symmetry is bullish. We have this Mars at the midpoint of these two planets here, Pluto and Uranus. We have Saturn and Neptune at the midpoint of those two planets on the other side, and then Saturn and Neptune opposing Mars. The symmetry is just so beautiful. We will remember actually this setup for years to come. It's a quite exceptional setup. So anyway, let's have a look at the backtesting results. And the backtesting results of the 45 degrees between Black Moon Lilith and Mars are showing the trend before, 54% probability of an uptrend. I try to backtest the trend before whenever I have time, because it serves, it tells me how much I can trust this backtesting. If the trend before is accurate, then that increases the chance that the trend after will be accurate as well. It only increases the probability. It's never a guarantee, but it does increase it. So for today, it gave us a probability of 54% closing on the green, and then we already knew that, already forecasted that yesterday, and the trend after, 54% probability that at least one day after, meaning the 8th of August, so at least one day after will be closing on a green with 54% probability. Just very quick here, I hate discussing long-term trends because I already know when Bitcoin will be topping in 2025, and it's you know, of little interest to me right now, because I'm doing these videos for you guys, because you're the ones who are interested in local moves. If you are not around, I would not care to do any of this back testing, because I'm interested only in the swing trades, and I know when Bitcoin will be topping. So anyway, to present some nice evidence to you while I'm forecasting the local moves to you. Look, what appears here from this aspect is that very often, I had a look at it on the charts yesterday while I was forecasting it, and very often this aspect is followed by a few days of indecision, up and down, and then boom, the parabolic moves begin with 69% historical probability. So 69% of the times in the past, this aspect has been followed by banana shapes after a few days of messing around. Right, keep this in mind. And then the other 45-degree angle between Sun and Mars. This one is a lot more optimistic in terms of the percentages, much higher percentages, so in that sense it's much more trustworthy. So the trend before 77%, that's exactly what happened. The trend before has been an uptrend, so this is accurate. Today's closure, the 7th of August, 77% probability of a green closure. It looks like we're going to be closing on a green. It's looking quite stable. This is today's candle, the 7th of August. And 92% probability that the trend after will continue up for at least one day. So only once in the past the trend up has lasted only for one day, but we need to be conservative. We need to use that. If the minimum was 2 days, we would have said minimum 2 days, but because the minimum was one day, we need to be conservative, and we just say that this is showing us 92% probability that the trend that tomorrow, the 8th of August, will be actually a green day. So these are the most recent backtesting results. And if you recall yesterday, I said I wasn't sure about August, how it will close. I said my confidence about the 8th of August closure is lower than the 7th of August, and these backtesting results now are giving me nice confirmation that tomorrow we're expecting another green day on the 8th of August. This is the data. I don't have any intuition. I don't get any visions about the future. This is what the data is showing, and I can only go by the data. As you can see, these are all percentages, probabilities, and all I can say is that the probability that tomorrow will be closing on a green is a lot higher. It's confirmed by these backtesting results plus those metrics that I showed you yesterday. I don't want to repeat them because I'm catching myself repeating a lot of things from one video to the next, and that is making the videos very long. So that is the forecast for the 8th of August, higher probability of closing on a green and being a green day. Now, another thing I want to highlight to you about the 8th of August. Let me find this aspect. So tomorrow we have Mars trining Uranus, and we're very lucky it's happening later in the day at 18:44 UTC, which leaves the market makers with a relatively small number of hours to create a dumping situation towards the end of the day. Usually after a trine we get a reaction to the downside, because this is an extremely bullish event, and it's a top, it's a local top, so it's very difficult to just keep going up and up and up. So I do expect a little bit more to the downside after that event. But on the other hand, both of these planets are quite slow moving. Mars moves 1 degree every 2.5 days, and Uranus, I forgot exactly, but it's quite slow. So for that reason, I expect that this aspect will hold for the whole day, instead of dumping straight after the exact aspect has been done. The probability of tomorrow's green closure is 60% going by this aspect. Trend before 60% down, this is inaccurate. That means that this aspect hasn't been, it's not that trustworthy as the other ones that I showed you earlier. And again, 67% probability that the trend after will be down. So we need to check for the 9th of August what we can expect, given that red forecast here for the trend after. So 9th of August we have Mars opposition Saturn earlier in the day, and that is quite bullish. It's giving us 57% probability of a green closure, 57% that the trend before will be up, and then 71% probability that the trend after will continue to the upside. However, later on the 9th of August, we are getting Mars opposition Neptune, and this is more conservative. It's giving only 57% probability that the trend after will be up, but still it is additive because it's in the same direction. So this is 57 and this is 71, so it is additive. And actually the contradiction is that it is forecasting a red closure for the 9th with 57% probability. So this is putting a little bit of a dent in the uptrend. We may actually end up closing the 9th on a red. Depends. So this is 57 and this is 50, exactly 57 against 57. So it's very difficult to make a decision about the 9th. But it is useful actually to see what happens on the 10th. On the 10th we have another trine. We have Mars trine Pluto. On this trine it is expected that it already will be influential on the market on the 9th, because Mars is relatively slow planet, much slower than Venus, Mercury and the Sun and the Moon. So it is expecting that this bullish event will already be impacting the market on the previous day, so that increases the probability of the 9th also being a green day. Look at that, it's giving a 76% probability that the trend before will be an uptrend. And these are all daily time frames, by the way. So it is increasing the probability of 9th being a green day. It's also making a statement that the 10th has a higher probability of closing on a green. And then it's giving us a 65% probability that the trend after will be down. I will not be surprised, because these trines, they always create a bear divergence. The way the squares create bull divergences, because they're so bad that they create a bull divergence after that. The same goes with the trines. They're so good that they create a bear divergence. It's like eating a really nice, good quality chocolate, and after that you don't have that chocolate, so it kind of gives you a craving for it, like you can't have it anymore, and it creates a bad divergence in that way. The next day is not as good without that chocolate. Okay, so let's have a look here on the weekly time frames to see how we are progressing with them. So Mercury weekly time frames forecast, so far it has been accurate on 4 weeks, and it has been inaccurate on 2 weeks. That makes it a 67% probability, 67% accuracy so far, since we have started using Mercury weekly time frames from the beginning of July. And it is forecasting that this week now, between the 7th and 14th of August, has 80% probability of closing on a green. Right? So that is all well confluenced with all of these trines that I'm talking about. I reached up until the 10th. I don't want to touch any more days, because I've got some more back testing to do for next week. My next forecast to you will be on the 11th. And I'm going to forecast on the 8th, 9th, and 10th today. So it's the Mercury weekly time frames forecast is quite bullish, with 80% probability that the coming week will be closing on a green. Venus in Cancer is dragging her feet. Venus in Cancer has historical bearish performance on the Bitcoin market. But listen, look at this. So in this second week of August, several historical tops have taken place. So it is giving us a nice confluence to the idea that we will be making a local top in the coming week. And it's still bearish, but it's only 57%, much lower than the 71% that it had for the week ending on 7th of August. I have given it a tick now because it is an accurate forecast. 7th of August did close lower than the 31st of July. So we are expecting a top in the second week of August, and these are two separate statements. We can get a top and still close 14th of August lower than the 7th of August. That is possible. It's giving us that 57% probability for that. But on the other hand, Mercury probability is very high. It's saying here 80% probability that 14th of August will be higher than the 7th of August. So these two cycles will be battling with each other. And let's see what Mars is saying. Mars is only 50-50. Okay. So the weight in that case is on the Mercury forecast, because it has been running with 67% probability, 67% accuracy that so far, and therefore we can trust it reasonably that week ending on 14th of August is likely to be closing higher than 7th of August. But if it doesn't, we will know why. We will know that it's this Venus in Cancer forecast. Okay, so that was the weekly time frames forecast. And then let's see if this is forecasting anything. yeah, this is green for week ending on 8th of August. So that has been quite accurate actually, Mercury retrograde. That's doing well. Okay, so Sun forecast, Sun square Mars, Sun semi-square Mars, I beg your pardon, I already forecasted that. And just to remind you, the square between Black Moon, Lilith and the Sun, it gives a 65% probability that the trend after today is the 7th of August, that the trend after today will be up. So all of these confluences now are on the same page. All of them are saying that the trend is continuing up, and not only that, but it is actually heading for a top in the second week of August. On what day do we expect the top? So first of all, I have backtested seriously. I have done some backtesting for after the 10th of August, but in terms of consistent, proper backtesting, I'm confident only in my forecast until the 10th of August. Now, I will, by my next forecast on 11th of August, I will do some more backtesting, so I will have better information for what is happening after the 11th of August. Meanwhile, do you remember yesterday in the video I said I haven't had time to check the top according to the Chinese cycles? And here it is. According to the Chinese cycles, where we are now in August, let me just scroll to that. According to the Chinese cycle, where we are now in August is the equivalent that the Chinese cycle is forecasting the 9th of August is a very big cycle top. 9th of August, because that was the top in June 2025. So this day here, one second, let me see what is the animal on the 9th of August. The metal dog. Okay, so in terms of Chinese cycles, the metal dog has very high percentage probability of closing on a green, much higher than the time frames after that, and therefore it is actually forecasting a top on the 9th of August. So do you remember a minute ago when I said that Mars is making an opposition to Neptune very late on the 9th of August, and it said after that, the trend after, it gave a 65% probability the trend after to be down. So it is possible that the 9th of August could be a local top. And also the 9th of August is Sunday, and so far for the past few months they've been doing the tops on a Sunday. Oh no, sorry, the 9th of August is a Saturday. Right, so for now we're looking at possible top on the 9th of August for Chinese cycles, and the other top is still standing there. The one that I showed you yesterday, the 15th of August, is the one I have drawn here on the chart. But now the Chinese time frames are saying very possible that we get a local top on the 9th of August. And I already showed you that the 10th of August, where we have that trine between Mars and Pluto, I find it difficult to believe that a top will take place before that aspect is exact. Let me see at what time that aspect takes place. Mars trine Pluto. Here it is. So Mars is trining Pluto at lunchtime on the 10th of August. And look, this is also giving us now 65% probability that the trend after will be down. 65% probability that the day itself will be closing on green. And 76% probability that the trend before will be up. This is forecasting daily time frames, by the way. So when I say the trend before, I mean that even the previous day was up. So we're looking at either the 9th of August or the 10th of August to be making the local top in the second week of August. And I need to check now what confluences we've got here in the August forecast, in the August daily time frames forecast. So 9th of August we've got as a high probability of closing on red, the historical closures, and then very high historical probability, this is the metal dog here, very high probability of closing on a green by the metal dog. And then we have this cycle top here, the one that took place in June, was exactly on the day of the metal dog. And then the eclipse cycles, both of them are forecasting green 9th of August and red 10th of August. That's just a separate confluence, nothing is set in stone yet. In terms of lunar days, the lunar day on the 9th of August is much weaker, lunar day 16, than the lunar day on the 10th of August. 10th of August has a much stronger lunar day 17. In terms of moon aspects, okay, the moon is not very happy on the 10th of August. The moon is much happier on the 9th of August than on the 10th of August, which serves as a confirmation that the top is more likely to take place on the 10th of August. The 9th of August is more likely to be closing on green. And then I just want to highlight that we're talking only about a local top, because we have a lot more bullish events here happening after that. All of these here, Venus conjuncting Jupiter, there is a sextile to Uranus, Saturn and Uranus sextile. I mean, these are two very slow planets and very influential. We have a meteor shower which tends to be bullish. We have a lot of bullish events after the 10th of August. But because of that cyclical top day that we have it highlighted, I will make the conclusion that we have a high chance that we will shape a local top on the 10th of August. And then by then I will have back tested a lot more of these events, and whatever other events are there in the calendar, there are a lot more aspects. These are just the main aspects. Sometimes I find time to back test some smaller aspects as well. So when I make my update to you on the 11th, by 11th I will have more information about the coming week. But we do need to keep in mind that if the weekly time frame is saying 14th will be higher than the 7th, then we can imagine that 9th and 10th of August top may not bring that may not sustain that price to be higher than the 7th. Then it is likely that these 9th and 10th will shape just some kind of a local top, and then we keep going up after that, because we have a meteor shower, we have the Venus conjunction Jupiter on the 12th of August, the Saturn sextile Uranus, and then we have Venus trine Black Moon Lilith on the 13th of August. So it's very likely that we will continue up after the 10th of August. But what we may get is pump and dump on the 10th of August, because the moon is not very happy on the 10th of August. It's not happy only in the morning, actually. After that it gets happy again. And then the moon is very happy all the way until the 13th of August. The moon is trining The moon is shining the sun. That is a very bullish day. Conjuncting Saturn, no, that's not a bullish day on. But then we have other bullish events here on the 12th of August. So I'm not going to stretch myself to forecast beyond the 10th because it's too far-fetched. All I wanted to highlight to you that there are bullish events after the 10th, and at the same time I also want to highlight to you that despite all of those bullish events, it's very difficult actually, according to Gann, when we're so near the top, when we're so near the previous top, we to actually make another top. We have done that in the past. We did it in December, 17th of December, and then we made another top on the 20th of January. So we may actually end up repeating the same thing, but these are not normal events. Usually, according to Gann, we need to wait for 45 days before we can start expecting another rally. 45 days after top, and that will be 28th of August. And I have reported in previous videos we have many confluences there that 28th of August will be making some kind of a bottom. But I'll come back to those weeks further down during the month because it's way too much information to talk about the end of August right now when we're actually heading towards the top at this moment in time. Oh yes, and we have some very good confluences. I don't have that page open right now, but some solar wind is getting stronger tomorrow on the 8th of August. So that usually translates in pumps. And I already said that Mars-Uranus trine that is happening tomorrow, the 8th of August, is expected to be pumping. And then that's a second confluence now, the solar wind enhancement tomorrow on the 8th of August. And actually the forecast said that the solar wind will be enhanced all the way until the 9th of August. But they produce those forecasts all the time because sometimes they change. They produce them twice in the day. So if those forecasts change, I may put actually a tweet to inform you. But for now, the forecast is that we're going to have a very enhanced solar wind on the 8th and 9th of August, which means up. The price will be up and possible pumps as well. So for today, that is all. I don't want to make the video very long. I always end up making these videos much longer than I intend. So my conclusion now is that we're expecting up on 8th and 9th of August, and all the way until 10th of August we're expecting up. And also we have a cyclical top on the 9th of August, so we need to be aware that it is possible that we make it again on the 9th of August. And also we have that trine there on the 10th of August, which is also very bullish, so we can expect that we actually make the top on the 10th of August. And then on 11th of August I will make my next forecast. Bye for now.